Jesus or Adam, they accepted the dialogue, but they didn't go ahead with the conclusion. They said, we're willing to engage in a mubahala. In a mubahala, you need to have utmost confidence in the religion you follow. Because you are now saying to the person of the other religion, bring your best people, we'll bring our best, and we'll challenge your religion. You need to have confidence. They brought the best of their people. The Quran said, فَمَنْ حَاجَكَ فِيهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ فَقُلْ تَعَالَوْ نَدْعُ أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ ثُمَّ نَبْتَهِلْ فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. You bring your sons, we'll bring our sons. You bring your woman, we'll bring our woman. You bring yourselves, we'll bring ourselves. Notice, mubahala is a couple of years before Rasulullah leaves the world. Whoever he takes with him have to be the very people he can rest the whole religion on their shoulders. There are thousands of companions living at the time, yet look at who he decides to take with him. He takes as his sons, Hassan and Hussein. He takes as his woman, Fatima. He takes as himself, Amir al-Mu'mineen. When they come, the Christian priests come forward and say, we will not challenge these five in a mubahala. Because the amount of light that shines from their faces, if it told a mountain to move, the mountain would move from its position. As soon as they said this, they said, Muhammad, we are Christians. We've been persecuted before we came to you. What do we do now if we don't want to join your religion? He said, no problem. Ali, come here. Ali ibn Abi Talib came. He said, Ali, I want you to write for me the following contract with the Christians of Najran. Notice Ali ibn Abi Talib is geared for political activity. Those who say Ali ibn Abi Talib spiritually is a great man, but politically is inept, then who's writing all the contracts for Rasulullah? As in Hudaybiyah, who wrote the contract? At Mubahala, who wrote the contract? Ali ibn Abi Talib is being groomed to politically run the stage. Ali ibn Abi Talib came, Rasulullah said to him, the Christians of Najran will live, understand the point, will live under the Islamic State in peace. They are not obliged to defend the Islamic State if the Islamic State is under attack. They can stay in their houses. The Muslims are obliged to defend them. Then on top of that, they have to pay a tax. What's the tax? In the holy months of Safar and in the holy month of Ramadan, they have to give some of their clothes away to the poor. That's it. As soon as they give their clothes away to the poor, then you will find that they are able to live here in peace. When Rasulullah built this vision, it wasn't a narrow-minded cocoon vision. It was a vision which encompassed the idea that if you are not my brother in faith, you are my equal in humanity. And that's why you find Amir al-Mu'mineen continues this vision. One day when he's walking with one of his companion looks at a church and he says, I wonder how much shirk is being performed in there. Ali ibn Abi Talib looked at him and he said, I wonder how much Allah is being worshipped in there. Different vision. One had a narrow-minded vision. The other had a vision which possibly was more encompassing. And that's why you find that the reason John the Baptist's story was constantly narrated by the Imam was because John the Baptist's vision was identical to Abu Abdullah. And his life was identical to Abu Abdullah. And his stand was identical to Abu Abdullah. That's why Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari in Ziyarat al-Arba'een, which we're going to recite in about 12 nights, أشهد أنك قد مضيت على ما مضى عليه أخوك يحيى ibn Zakaria. I swear, Ya Abu Abdullah, that you stepped the steps which your brother stepped, Yahya, son of Zakaria. The reason is, look at the 5 similarities between Yahya, John the Baptist, and Imam al-Hussein. John the Baptist was born after a 6-month pregnancy. Imam al-Hussein was born after a 6-month pregnancy. Because you know the minimum period for pregnancy in Islam is 6 months. The second Khalifa once had a case where some lady came to him. She said to him, I'm giving birth after a 6-month period. He ordered his soldiers to kill her. At this moment, Ali ibn Abi Talib said, wait. What do you mean kill her? He said, because she's giving birth after 6 months. As in, that's not acceptable. Ali ibn Abi Talib said in the Quran, in one verse, Allah says, the period of weaning and breastfeeding is how many months? 24. In another verse, he says 30 months. 30 minus 24 is 6 months. That means the minimum period is 6 months. So he let her go. Both of them were born after a 6-month pregnancy, number one. Number two, both their names had never been named by anyone before them. Yahya, nobody had the name before him. Imam al-Hussein, nobody had the name Hussein before him. Imam Hassan, mountains in Arabia were called Hassan, some of them, but his name was never named by a human being. Likewise, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, nobody was named this name before him. Number 3, both of them stood against the king of the time. Nabi Yahya stood against the king of the time. Abu Abdullah stood against the king of his time. Even though his king was a tyrant, an oppressor, a person who wanted to bring back Jahiliyyah, with his famous lines, later أشياخي ببدر شهدوا جزع الخزرج من وقع الأسل لا أهلوا واستهلوا فرحا ثم قالوا يا يزيد لا تشل لعبت هاشم بالملك فلا خبر جاء ولا وحي نزل. Yazid, when he was poking the mouth of Abu Abdullah in front of Sukaina bint al-Hussein, said in front of her, I wish my ancestors from Badr were present, so that they could see my achievements, what I have done on this day. Hashim, what is Hashim? They played with the kingdom. There was no revelation and there was no news whatsoever. When Abu Abdullah rose against him, he didn't accept that a person who is a tyrannical leader is in the same land as a just man like the man of Islam. And that's why he said, Hayhat minna dhilla. There is no way I'll accept disgrace in the face of a human being like that. The third of them, they both stood against the king of their time. The fourth, both their heads were taken to palaces in Sham. John the Baptist's head was taken to Jami' al-Amawi in Sham. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein himself, before he died, he said to Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab, he said to him, John the Baptist, he died because of an adulteress and a person who engages with adulteresses. Likewise, it's as if I see my head taken because of a man who engages in the same activities. And his head was taken towards Sham. The fifth similarity, when Yahya died, the skies were red because of his death. Likewise, when Abu Abdullah died, the skies of Karbala became red when he died. The sixth similarity, and the most important one, when Yahya died, he was avenged by 70,000 soldiers. Because Nebuchadnezzar, as they call him in history, when he became leader of the children of Israel, he wondered, why is it this man's grave, whenever we put sand over it, blood comes out? Until he realized that until someone avenges what they did to him, then that blood will continue to flow. Likewise, Rasulullah himself said, my grandson, his blood will be avenged by over 70,000, or by 70,000. His grandson's blood was avenged by Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. Mukhtar al-Thaqafi took with him around 18,000. But the reason 70,000 is given in history is to show the greatness in the number, rather than an exact number. Mukhtar al-Thaqafi went and avenged the death of Abu Abdullah, in the way Nebuchadnezzar avenged the death of John the Baptist. But when Mukhtar al-Thaqafi came, in that famous court case of his, he didn't know what had happened on the plains of Karbala. Mukhtar was not at Karbala. Why? Because of the fact that he was in prison at the time. Mukhtar's father-in-law was the governor of Kufa. He was removed by Ibn Ziyad, and therefore Mukhtar was eventually imprisoned because of working with Muslim, Ibn Aqil and Hani. Ibn Urwa, the narrations say to us, Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, when he came out of prison, he said, that call me a liar if I don't avenge one by one those who killed Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And he went around looking for them one by one. It's only when you hear what each one did to Abu Abdullah that you understand the pain Sukaina bint al-Hussein kept with her after Karbala.